All right, well, it is our first episode of the Fossil Files. So, who the heck are we and why are we here today?
Well, I'm Brian, and I am a Marine Corps veteran. We like to call ourselves prior service Marines, not ex-Marines, as many people in the media would say. I also have brief experience in law enforcement and corrections, and I've spent a bit of time in retail at a variety of retail establishments. Right now, I'm a rideshare driver on the side, and I've done quite a bit of movie production work over the last 7 years. My last project was the Super Bowl halftime show in New Orleans for Fox Sports, which was filmed days before. That was the segment where Lady Gaga sang "Hold My Hand" from the movie Top Gun. So I was present for that, and it was pretty awesome to see Lady Gaga perform "Hold My Hand" 8 times in a row, of course.
Yeah.
So, you, Tracy.
Okay, so I'm Tracy. I am Brian's wife. We are husband and wife. And we've been married for a very long time. So long that the dust is on our marriage, right? No, okay. But no, for real, we do love each other a lot. But as for me, besides being Brian's wife, I am a lot of things. I'm an artist. I love to be in front of a microphone. I love to create just about anything. I'm also the auntie to several lovely nieces and nephews. I adore being an auntie. I have an amazing circle of friends, of which I do include my husband in the circle of friends. They all encourage my creativity. They listen to me yik yak about whatever I say. In fact, I was talking today with one of my friends about how when you have intrusive thoughts in your head, if you say them out loud, then you release the thought and maybe it won't echo around in your brain as much.
Quite true. And Tracy neglected to mention that she's also spent some time in retail.
Oh, are we doing job resumes? So, okay, so most of my life has been customer service. For a long time, I worked in New Orleans hospitality in hotels and restaurant industry, and I have to say, I found most of it quite interesting. You do see people, all sorts of people. You meet all sorts of people from everywhere, all over the world, and that was one of the coolest things about working in the French Quarter.
Yes, working in the French Quarter, you just never know who you're going to run into. It's like for example, that joke, a Terminator enters a bar.
I did actually meet Robert Patrick at my old job. So a Terminator did walk into a bar and I lived to tell about it.
Yep, and even got a selfie with him.
Him. He was really nice. He was like taking pictures with everybody, and when I first saw him, I was delivering food, and he was like, his back was to me, and he like turned around, so I was like face to face with him, and I recognized him. I just kind of smiled like nervously. I was like, "Oh, it's him," and he just said, "Hi, how you doing?" A very, very congenial guy.
Yeah, he loves the fans. He really gets around. He was in town for, it was the
Comic-Con.
Yeah, one of the last, the Comic-Con before last, I believe. Yeah, he was in town for that, and the French Quarter is a great place to be during a Comic-Con, especially in the evening time, because these celebrities are going to get out onto the town. They're going to go to the quarter.
I also met, and I'm so sorry I don't remember this person's name, but he was a comic book artist, like kind of a big deal comic book artist too, to where like he could actually make his living being a comic book artist, which is so very cool.
Yeah, that's really tough to do. Many comic book artists actually, they have it as a side gig, because they literally have to work another job to consistently pay the bills.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very much so. But, my interests are wide and varied, and probably all of them are going to bleed into this podcast in some form or another. I also wanted to let everybody know that I will be having a hysterectomy fairly soon, but that's another topic for another time. But that's just something else in my universe right now that I wanted to say. But you know what else is pretty big in our universe, Brian?
What else?
Music.
Oh, yes.
We love music. We love all kinds of music. John Williams scores, Tchaikovsky, heavy metal, hip hop. I love old school like Motown. I love like the Beach Boys, that early kind of like that. It is a layered sound. It's literally called the sound well, which was created by music producer Phil Spector, and the Beach Boys were one of the first groups to have that layered sound in their music.
Oh yeah, the Beatles, of course, followed them.
Yes.
In that endeavor, some of the, like Beatles in particular, some of the best acoustics that you will ever hear. To the this side of Metallica, for example, another band that has pretty awesome acoustics. Yeah,
yes.
Definitely.
Yeah. But who has been dominating our eardrums lately?
As well as renting space in our minds.
And our hearts.
Yes. Whoever would that be? How can anyone guess?
Well, if they do guess, we can't hear what they say, so we have to tell them. So who have we been listening to a lot of lately?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. I want to explain my Swiftie origin story. It was during pandemic when she released Folklore and Evermore, and I was like, I think I can get behind her style of writing and her music. I really enjoyed the way it sounded. It was this beautiful, gentle sound on those albums, and I was like, I'm into this. It's very soothing. Enjoy it. And it kind of just took off from there, but lately, this past month and a half, unless you've been living under a rock, the life of a showgirl has taken over everything.
Absolutely everything. And I find this bit to be, it was rather hilarious a few weeks ago when I was shopping at this hardware store, Harbor Freight. Yeah, when I was shopping at Harbor Freight, to get stuff for my zombie costume for zombie paintball over at Noah Motorsports. So that's another gig I just got finished with. And what did I hear out of all places like Harbor Freight? I heard that very song.
Which one?
Overhead.
Fate of Ophelia?
Yeah, Fate of Ophelia. Yeah. Playing in Harbor Freight. And I did notice some of the usual clientele at Harbor Freight, they didn't exactly have the most thrilled looks on their faces. And I just kind of smirked and chuckled to myself.
Taylor Swift will get you, man. She will just get you. I mean, I find her to be very infectious. And in a good way. Not like she's a disease or something.
Yes, and she's turned out not to be flavor of the month at all. She's more like Baskin and Robbins, which is, 31 wonderful flavors and going, and
right.
Counting, pretty much.
And I also have to say, just as myself as an artist, looking at her as another artist, I'm in awe. Completely in awe of the body of work she's created. She has theme, she has color coding. All these things that you can identify as being in the same universe. I don't know if any other musical artist has quite done that.
No, it's quite a journey she's been on, and it's a journey that has been cut short for many a talented artist. Like, for example, like Debbie Gibson comes to mind.
Just didn't quite get popular enough, right?
Right. Her popularity faded out by her out of the third or the fourth album.
Or, unfortunately, a lot of artists have died early, too. The lifestyle got to them.
Yes, most notably Elvis Presley.
Janis Joplin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Taylor Swift won't be joining that club.
No, I really don't think she will. Thankfully, she seems to have a very good circle of people around her. Like I've mentioned that the dancers that we saw in the Fate of Ophelia video have been with her for a while. The backup musicians you saw on the Eras tour have been with her for a while. So she keeps her team intact.
Yes, and when you look at at earlier Taylor Swift videos and even recordings of her video recordings of her concerts, you will see these people over and over again. You know, you will recognize the same dancers, except their hair might be a little different. You know, you recognize them by the color of their hair and their face and everything. And she's very loyal to her people, and she treats her people kind of like good friends in a way.
Well, that's, if you have a creative team around you, and if it grooves, you want to keep it intact. And I also have to say that, many musical artists, some of them have kept the same team around them for a while, but some of them go through their teams like toilet paper. It has happened.
Yeah, go through their assistants like paper towels. So oftentimes these assistants just simply can't take it anymore.
Right.
And the level of work that they have to dedicate to this person who seems to be unforgiving, unrelenting, constantly needy. There was a recent example. Lizzo, right?
Lizzo, yes. Yeah, Lizzo turned out to be not a good person.
To work for.
Which does make me sad because I was excited about Lizzo's music at the beginning.
Yeah, I was excited seeing her appearance on the 3rd season of The Mandalorian.
That's right. Yeah, she was in that.
Like many an entertainer or musician, she seemed to translate pretty good to acting.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, her career is on the wane right now because it's gotten out how she's treated her people and how she's gone through
backup dancers and that kind of thing, which, those backup people, they help you look really good. Like you, if you're the star, they're there to help you look good.
They build your show. They help viewers and listeners to help to draw you in.
Yes.
Yeah. And Taylor Swift's shows are so well put together and so magnificent. The last I can remember a musician who had shows that were so well done and so well produced, I would say Michael Jackson.
Well, we're going to get to that, actually. But first, Brian, we have to talk about fossil footnotes. Did you know, Brian, that there are 2 fossils named after Taylor Swift?
No, I didn't know that at all.
So one is called the Nenaria swifti. It is a swift, twisted claw millipede. It was discovered in the Appalachian Mountains of Tennessee. This millipede was named in honor of Taylor Swift by the entomologist Derek Hennon. He was a fan of Swift's music. He stated that her songs helped him through the challenges of graduate school, and he named the species after her as a thank you.
That is inspiration. An inspired artist inspiring science. Yes, truly inspired.
Yes, and the other one is called the Castia unira swifti. I had to actually Google a pronunciation guide. And this is an ant mimicking spider, which I don't think exists anymore, right? I don't think we have ant mimicking spiders.
No. That hence the fossils.
But in 2023, the biosciences student Brogan L. Petz, he described the species of a sac spider from Costa Rica, and he named the spider after Taylor Swift because her music kept him energized and motivated while looking under a microscopes late at night.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome inspiration. And these are just 2 famous stories here. You could probably look at every town in the entire United States and find multiple examples of these if you were able to dig deep enough or talk to enough people.
Yes. Now, before we get to our pivotal piece, we are going to take a quick break.
David Ford, BBC World Service, reporting to you live from Marvel Studios on the status of the Secret Wars movie. Chris Evans is confirmed for the cast. And
How did you know about the Secret Wars?
I have my sources.
You need to get out.
Perhaps you should do a better job of keeping secrets.
Why don't you bugger off, you silly Brit?
But first, a word from our sponsor.
Hi, my glitter gremlins! It's Glinda Gluegun, your hot glue slinging, rhinestone wrangling witch of the craft table. If you want cozy art magic and weekly treats like Folklore Friday and Fan Art Friday, then Spellbound Studio is the place where your broom should be parked. We've got soothing colors, spooky lore, pop culture sparkle, and enough creative chaos to keep you enchanted for days. Whether you're here for ASMR magic, witchy storytelling, or iconic characters turned into gorgeous art, this coven has something for every crafty soul. So dust off your glue wand and follow me into the sparkles. Visit Spellbound Studio on YouTube today and experience the life of a crafty witch. All right, recording. So when people debate the biggest musical icon of all time, the conversation tends to always circle around three names. Elvis Presley, the Beatles, and Michael Jackson. Each reigned supreme in a different era. They changed not just what people listen to, but how they experience music.
Oh, yes, they certainly did. And like the Beatles, for example, taught the world a lot about the music business. And there were some very important lessons learned by the music business and artists themselves, like most notably John Lennon, for example, was the workaholic of the group. He was the one who was able to get the other members of the band back into the recording studio so that they could actually make more albums and have a more lasting impact upon music fans.
And look at that, he was right.
He was absolutely right. Yes. I mean, as a band, they very much enjoyed touring and performing live. It's what they enjoyed the most. But at some point, they had to get quite literally back to work.
Yes, and I think that a lot of people see that, these artists, and yeah, does it look like it's fun when they're dancing around on stage? Sure, it looks awesome, doesn't it? But it's also a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Like, Taylor Swift said, her 2 years Eras tour, she's just exhausted right now. She said that her feet hurt every night on that stage.
Yet she kept going.
And she kept going.
Yes.
Very admirable. But for some comparison's sake, the Beatles sold around 500 to 600 million albums worldwide. That's the most recent information I could find. So they're pretty much the top-selling act of all time. Elvis Presley's just a little bit behind that with 500 million sold globally. The top-selling solo artist in history. And Michael Jackson is third, 400 to 500 million sold worldwide. Thriller still stands as the best-selling album ever, 70 million plus copies.
Yes, and the home of some very iconic Halloween music that just goes on forever because his horror-themed music has caught on with every single generation.
Right. And the Beatles have the record-breaking number of number one hits during a single decade. So from 1960 to 1970, they were the number one seller of hits. They had the most hits.
Yeah, extraordinary.
Elvis Presley, dozens of top 10 singles in a reign that spanned from the dawn of rock and roll all the way through the 70s. I mean, Elvis had a pretty long career. Even though he unfortunately died in a sad and tragic way from opiate use. Kids do not use opiates.
Yeah, it was still a premature death.
Yeah, and he died similar. Well, Matthew Perry, the actor from Friends, who also passed away from opiate overdose. I read his book called Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. It was his autobiography that was published not long before he passed away. And he said that for him, what had happened, he did not have a bowel movement for, I think, like 70 days or something really, really outrageous. And he almost died from that. And his survival rate of basically his intestines exploding was so low that they thought he was going to die, but he wound up surviving that only to pass away not too long after.
Yes, abdominal problems can be very unforgiving.
They really can be. But anyway, Michael Jackson has, multiple number one singles across 3 decades, and he's pretty much the gold standard for pop dominance. When he was a new artist, he was doing things that nobody had ever done. He had done the moonwalk. He wore like one glove and a fedora. I mean, he was exciting, he was new, and he was doing things that people had never seen before, similar to before that Elvis with the hips. A lot of parents got very upset over Elvis shaking his hips, let's just say.
Yeah, Elvis did pave the way for racy things.
Yes, he did. So, cultural influences are, I don't think you can calculate how big these influences are. The Beatles, they reinvented songwriting, recording, and the very concept of the modern band. So, like, every modern band that you see today can trace their influence back to the Beatles. Elvis Presley brought, rhythm and blues to the mainstream, to white audiences. He broke racial and cultural barriers, which was something else that I think people kind of don't realize is at that time, it was such a different world that, they would separate things, black music is for black people, white music or white people music is for white people, sort of thing. So Elvis was doing these things in this way that white people had never really been introduced to before. It like in a mainstream way.
Yeah, Elvis was not afraid to cross the aisle.
No, he really was not. And, now Michael Jackson, like we kind of talked about a little while ago, is he made the music video an art form. There were, they still exist, of course, you can always go find them. But those music videos that you might look at today that were made, oh God, at this point, like 40 years ago, that was new and exciting at the time. Music videos were hardly even a thing for a long time. The first music video did premiere on MTV in 1980, which was Video Killed the Radio Star by the Bugles.
And later on we found out that video didn't kill the radio star.
Did not.
Radio is thriving even today.
It is thriving even today. And it is because of people like Elvis Presley, Madonna, the Beatles, and so on, right?
And Madonna was also instrumental in music videos as well.
Yes, and the 1990s, which is my era. This was my coming of age era, when I was a teenager. This brought in a whole new set of industry titans. Celine Dion. She had around 160 million records sold worldwide in the 1990s. Her most iconic song is obviously the one from Titanic, My Heart Will Go On, which, love it or hate it, it is a part of our cultural fabric forever. We're never going to be rid of that song, no matter what.
Yeah, as that song is tied to the movie Titanic, Titanic is tied to that song, and
which was another cultural phenomenon, but that's a different topic for a different day.
Yeah. 1990s teenagers were all over it.
Yes. And well, myself included, I do like the movie. I do. I just don't really care for the song that much. But anyway, Mariah Carey. Let's talk about Mariah Carey for a little bit because, she was one that I really loved listening to when I was a teenager. She has nearly 145 million records sold across that decade alone. And she has amazing vocals. And some of these songs that she sings, it's actually incredible how high she can get her voice to go up.
Yes, and she managed to attach herself to Christmas.
She did! Yes.
Yeah.
Every year you have to hear that song at least once.
Yes, and you're definitely going to hear it at least once when you're shopping around.
Yes.
Now, but on that note, I remember 1990 when I deployed to Southwest Asia. Saudi Arabia was my first stop there. And I noticed quite a few Marines here and there before the deployment at the base PX purchasing Mariah Carey tapes.
Did they also purchase any copies of the number one selling song of the 90s?
Which was?
Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You from the Bodyguard soundtrack.
Whitney Houston was represented in the Sandbox, as well as other artists.
Whitney Houston, another talent lost to drugs, by the way. Very incredibly sad. I think that Whitney Houston had one of the best voices of any singer, really.
Yes, definitely, and even though one of her most famous songs is a cover. It seemed to bring something new to the song.
Well, it was a cover, but the story of that cover is quite amazing, actually. I Will Always Love You was originally written by
Dolly Parton.
Another one of my favorites, Dolly Parton. And Elvis Presley wanted to buy the song outright, but Dolly Parton wanted to hold on to the rights. So this is a licensing deal. That's how it works. So like if you write a song and, a big artist comes up to you and says, hey, I want to buy your song outright and have the rights to it, then that means you get nothing from it. But if you hold on to the rights and you license your song out, then you get residuals. That is what happened with I Will Always Love You when Whitney Houston's team approached Dolly Parton to use it, or to have Whitney Houston sing it. And this is how Dolly Parton gets to fund her charity projects. This is how she built Dollywood.
Oh, yes. Dolly Parton has always played the long game with her career, and that's just one example of it.
Yeah, so by the end of the decade, these artists, we have foundations laid by Elvis, the Beatles, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Celine Dion, all these artists that we just mentioned. We know that there's so many more we could talk about, but if we did, we would never leave.
No, we would be talking for probably 12 hours.
And we can actually do that. But today, we're diving deep into the life and career of none other than Miss Taylor Swift. She has the potential to be bigger than any of those other artists we mentioned, by the way. Her numbers are not quite there yet, but as of this week, Fate of Ophelia has reached over 1 billion streams on Spotify alone.
Yes, and that song has played in my head today probably 5 or 6 times already at least.
So my brain bounces through like the songs, my favorite songs on the album almost constantly right now, along with a kind of a healthy dose of like movie instrumentals. Like,
oh yes.
Like that, Back to the Future theme lives in my head pretty much. As does the Superman, John Williams Superman score. I think about that one a lot. And you had that one playing earlier today.
Oh, yes, I did. I stream lots of music on my phone. That's the big advantage we have these days over back in the day, is that we can stream most of this music for free.
And endlessly.
Endlessly, yes. You can set your phone to go to sleep to music, and then you wake up in the middle of the night and the music's on, and you wake up in the morning, the music's still on, and then perhaps as you start enjoy your morning coffee, you keep the music flowing and surprise yourself with the random music that's going to be playing when you wake up and have your coffee, and it might be something that you didn't even select previously.
Yeah, and you might find you really like it too. It could be something you had never heard before.
Yes. Oh, yes.
But, okay, so Taylor Allison Swift was born in Reading, Pennsylvania. Now, it is spelled like reading, but it's pronounced Reading, and I have this on good authority from my friends who live in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. So in the game of Monopoly, it's really pronounced the Reading Railroad, not the Reading Railroad.
Oh, ha! I never... Okay.
So if you played Monopoly, you've already heard of a little bit of the town where Taylor Swift is from.
Sure, yes. But today, she is a global superstar. She does all kinds of things. Like when I say I'm in awe of her body of work, I don't just mean her music. I mean her Easter eggs, her planned outfits, the whole thing with the orange door at the last show of the Eras tour was orange, and then we find out that one of the colors for Life of a Showgirl is orange. She's been playing this the whole time. Like we find out that she recorded Life of a Showgirl while she was on tour. I mean, when did she sleep?
Well, her writing songs is writing poetry's always been one of her hobbies. So it's kind of like breathing for her. Apparently,
she does say that she has like a whole big file of just like words and phrases. And now I'm a visual artist. I'm not really much of a writer. But I do have my own little art file, my, old designs, new designs, different line art that I've done or whatever. Yeah, so I get that. Like, that is very much an artist thing. If you're an artist, you're always going to have ideas, but you might not have time for it. So it's kind of like your little marker. You're like, I'm going to get back to this. So I get it. Now... Today we do have plenty of information for those who might be new to Taylor Swift. Like maybe you're wondering, what is the big deal? Like how did she get to rise so high? But I also I'm going to be sharing a few facts that maybe even the most diehard of Swifties don't know.
And what is that?
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. Trust me. Okay, so now Taylor Swift is also a storyteller. She's a master of fan engagement. She effectively has used social media to connect with her fans. Most famously, before she got to a certain level, she had fans over at her house. She would order pizzas for her fans for meet and greets and all kinds of things. She seems to be a very kind person, which is another reason why I like her. And beyond that, you have the charity work that she does. She has a good heart. But she was born on December 13th, 1989 in Reading, Pennsylvania. And how perfect is this, Brian? She grew up on a Christmas tree farm.
Yeah. That's ironic. That's ironic. And lo and behold, the same as last Christmas when there were runs on Target stores, including myself after Ubering into the early morning at Kenner, Louisiana. I went to that Target because it's a Target with less traffic, and I was able to get one of the last of those hardcover books.
The Eras Tour book.
The Eras Tour book for you, and just to, just as kind of like a gag for friends, I was in my olive drab greens, military, quasi-military style attire, and my green Soul tactical shoulder bag. And I took a picture in front of the display, and ironically, it was a fellow veteran, a Vietnam veteran, who took the picture of me because he was bringing his granddaughter
Oh,
to go get that book and copy of the album.
yes, and see that's the nice thing that I love about the Taylor Swift fandom is that it connects people.
It does, yeah. And so that was like last Christmas, and now we're going into this Christmas, and
Yes.
and it's only accelerated even further. There's no doubt going to be copies of Taylor Swift vinyl and cassettes and CDs and books wrapped underneath Christmas trees this season in all 50 states.
All around the world, maybe even.
Oh, yes.
I mean, she's a worldwide.
The Western world, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are people listening to her music in private and in even Iran and Afghanistan.
Oh yeah, that's a good thought there because she is considered subversive by let's just say certain groups of people. Let's just say. But her parents are Andrea and Scott Swift, and they supported her creative ambitions early on, but Taylor once thought that she might follow in her father's footsteps and become a stockbroker.
That would have been very bad for Taylor Swift. She would have gotten enough of that and moved on, and probably still had a music career.
But the universe had other plans for her. Her grandmother, Marjorie Finlay, was a professional opera singer, so Taylor followed in her footsteps. She started performing at local fairs and contests when she was just 10 years old. And at 11, she sang the national anthem at a Philadelphia 76ers game. Not too long after that, a computer repairman named Ronnie Kremer taught her her first 3 guitar chords. And from that beginning, she started writing her songs. Her first song, Lucky You, came at age 12, and she even completed a 350-page novel called A Girl Named Girl in her early teen years. So she's always writing, always creating, yeah?
Yeah, since the earliest times for her.
Now, she was also inspired by a behind the music special on the country singer Faith Hill, who her big hit was This Kiss from Practical Magic soundtrack. And so her family relocated to Nashville when she was 14 so she could pursue music seriously. And how nice to have your parents be that supportive.
Yeah, considering that how early that is and how many young girls attempt to embark on such a career and don't make it, that was a very bold and adventurous and brave move.
Very much so. And in 2006, she performed at the Bluebird Cafe, which you and I mainly know of from the television show Nashville, which led to a contract with Big Machine Records and the release of her debut single, Tim McGraw. Her first album, Taylor Swift, was a major success. It sold over 2.5 million copies, and it marked her as a country music rising star.
Well, yes, I do remember a bit of her country music, including hearing some of it over the speakers at Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Early 2000s. If you shopped at Toys R Us in the early 2000s, chances are you heard some Taylor Swift.
Yes, chances are you've heard Taylor Swift somewhere in your life. And from there, the evolution kept going. Fearless was released in 2008. It shattered records and won multiple Grammys, including Album of the Year, which made her at just 20 the youngest artist to ever earn that honor. Speak Now 2010 was written entirely by Taylor herself. She did not have any music like anybody else writing the music chords or the lyrics. And then Red, 2012 album, pushed her into like the country pop boundary. And then came one of my favorite albums, 1989. 2014. This was her full transition into a pop star powerhouse, and it was a top-selling album of the year. That's the album that includes Style, Blank Space, Out of the Woods, three of my favorite tracks from that album. Then, after that, we entered Reputation era Taylor, which I love the way this album sounds. It was the same music producers that she worked with on 1989, so it has that sonic. It pleases my brain the way that the music sounds on these albums, which same producer she worked on for Life of a Showgirl as well. So after Reputation, we got Lover in 2019, Folklore and Evermore both in 2020, and then Midnights in 2022, and her 2024 release, The Tortured Poets Department. All of these, the more albums she puts out, the bigger she gets.
Oh, yes. See, every step of the way there were casual music observers declaring her flavor of the month. Some of these people, like, for example, were not aware of her previous country music career because she's been immensely successful at transitioning and evolving.
Yes.
Which is the biggest challenge for a popular music artist.
Well, the Folklore and Evermore albums, for me in particular, because they're indie folk storytelling, which I enjoy that type of music very much. So that's what drew me to it. I was like, interesting. This is the type of music I like. And then, like I said, just the lyrical storytelling. I love a good story.
Oh, yes. Her writing skills, her poetry skills are in full effect.
Yes, very much so. And she's also the first country artist to ever win an MTV VMA. She holds over 200 awards from nearly 600 nominations. She has won the Grammy for Album of the Year 4 times. Fearless 1989, Folklore, and Midnights. Her Eras Tour was the highest grossing tour in history. It earned over $2 billion. Drew more than 10 million fans worldwide. Excuse me. By 2025, she became the first musician to reach billionaire status through music alone, with an estimated net worth of $1.6 billion. And this is another reason why I say that as an artist who looks at her as an artist, it's incredible that any artist could be that successful.
Yes, given that she's such a generational talent and her popularity has transcended past every generation she's lived.
But, in spite of her fame, Taylor maintains a reputation for humility and generosity. She's funded the Taylor Swift Education Center at the Country Music Hall of Fame. She has donated countless books to schools and libraries. She supported disaster relief and local food banks. Her activism and philanthropy have earned her praise from fans and peers alike. And she's also known for her deeply personal songwriting, with tracks inspired by her own life and relationships. And beyond that, did you know that she's written songs for artists like Little Big Town, Sugarland, Calvin Harris, and even Rihanna?
That's not surprising, given that writing has always been a big hobby of hers.
I would say it's more than a hobby. It's her life. It's her life.
Right. At 10 years old, it's a hobby, though.
Right. But definitely not now. So, like I said, she's also a storyteller. She also writes, directs, and crafts her image with precision. She's self-taught on multiple instruments. She's also obsessed with symbolism and Easter eggs, which, if you paid attention to her for a few months, you would easily figure that out, but it's true. Like, her shows are very theatrical.
Yep.
Very,
Easter eggs in just about all of her shows of what's coming soon or references.
well, it's like a few weeks ago when they announced the Eras Tour documentary and the new Eras Tour movie. I just kind of, it said it was December 12th, and I kind of just, we were just sitting here and I just blurted out, oh, the 12th did mean something, and you looked at me like, what? And I said, oh, that's because like some Swifties have noticed that on one of her TV appearances there was a clock that was set to midnight in the background, 12. And that's the kind of thing that, I wasn't really paying attention, right? But a lot of people are paying attention. And that's what's so cool about it. Even if you miss it, other people catch it.
It's always fun to look for Easter eggs like that and just wonder if this little subtle difference has any meaning, or that selection of color has any meaning. And of course, whether it's the color of a door or
an outfit,
a certain outfit, yeah, it can very well be an indication of what is to come.
Yes. But all of this, she didn't just follow in the footsteps of stars before her. She's building literally a new blueprint for modern music stardom. I want you to think about that. Like, her influence is going to be passed down through at least the next several generations of stars.
Yes, she's definitely built upon what Elvis, the Beatles, and Michael Jackson
right
have accomplished going forward. So there's going to be generations that are going to be accrediting very much to Taylor Swift. The more informed ones will be also crediting the other musicians that we also discussed.
Right. And so how did these Easter eggs start? Are you ready to go on an Easter egg hunt?
Sure.
Okay, great. So she began hiding messages in CD lyric booklets. She would capitalize or uncapitalize letters. She would form coded phrases in albums like Fearless Red in 1989. Examples include I Cried While Recording This. Aww. Which was from the song 15. Another message was Ashley, Diana, Claire, Selena, which were her friends or are still her friends. I know she's still friends with Selena Gomez. Not entirely sure about the rest. That was from the song 22, and fans also discovered that her ex-boyfriend Joe Alwyn wrote songs with her on this album under the pseudonym William Bowery. She told Entertainment Weekly in 2019 that she's trained her Swifties to think this way. She enjoys fans decoding her hints, and she continues to encourage it. She'll say stuff like "happy decoding," and all that kind of thing. So she very much has made it a part of her brand, a part of her lifestyle, which is such a great way to engage fans.
Oh yes,
it's such a great way.
It's like communicating cryptically in code. It's a lot of fun when when the doors open both ways in such fashion.
Yes. Now, we do have to talk about why the Reputation era was such a big deal. If you don't know anything about Taylor Swift, you have to know why so many Taylor Swift fans love Reputation the way that they do. Aside from me, but I mean, like, I know the context, but I think really for me it's mainly the way that the music sounds more so than the story behind it, but it's still an interesting story nevertheless. So, there were public controversies around this time, right? We were past the Kanye West rudeness, excuse me, I'm gonna let you finish, when he interrupted her at the Video Music Awards. We all remember that.
Yes, and she was, I guess you could say she did a pretty good job of turning the other cheek.
Well,
because there's people, in fact, this was my first thoughts. Like, I was thinking, if that was me, and this would probably be no doubt linked to my historical short temper at times, from PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
I might have clobbered him with the microphone if I'd have been in her place. Okay. Which would not have been an appropriate reaction.
Well,
to say the least.
I will say that Taylor certainly has had the last laugh with that one. Taylor Swift is doing really well these days, and Kanye West is, well, he's Kanye West.
Yeah, a consummate narcissist and a tremendous control freak, which is obviously his motivation behind rudely taking the mic from Taylor Swift. It was another one of his male chauvinistic drives to control women.
Yeah, and also I think he probably just really wanted Beyonce to notice him too.
It could, yes. It was also a way of him to show off for Beyonce. And
well, Beyonce's not with him now, is she?
No.
It didn't work.
She sure
it did not work.
He was acting like an ass, and at the time, even the President of the United States, Barack Obama,
said it like on the radio or something, or he was interviewed about
it. It was leaked. A recording was leaked of him referring to Kanye West as a jackass, and it was a very appropriate comment. And it was one of Barack Hussein Obama, U.S. President's actions that year that I wholeheartedly agreed with.
So anyway, so like we're past all this, right? Kanye West, he was married to Kim Kardashian at this time. And Kim Kardashian and Kanye West decided to essentially be mean to Taylor Swift. There are some things I really cannot say on this podcast, what Kanye West did, but let's just say that it was a disturbing video that he created with a mannequin that looks like Taylor Swift. And, Kim Kardashian is she's a person I don't like, for many reasons, but I also think she's not a nice person. I do think she's a bully. And so basically the whole thing with the Reputation era, when you see the snake, Kim Kardashian started that. Calling Taylor Swift a snake, a bad person, etc., etc., etc. But Taylor Swift claimed that snake. And she said, okay, you want to call me a snake? I'm gonna feature a snake on my next album, and that was Reputation.
That is how you handle someone who is trolling you in that fashion. You go ahead and wear it, and you show them it has no effect on you whatsoever, and you just lay it down like a mat, and you relax on it.
And there were... That's a good one, I like that. There was also, during this time period too, there was lawsuits. She got touched in a place she should not have been touched by a
DJ.
Yes, a DJ, who I'm not even going to name because he's worthless and insignificant.
Yeah, he does not deserve any claim to fame.
And her lawsuit was successful. Her earnings out of this lawsuit was only $1. Her point was that, a lot of women, or a lot of people accuse women of making up sexual harassment claims or whatever just to have a lawsuit so they can get millions of dollars, which is really not true. Nobody makes up claims for that. And that was her point was, well, symbolically, it's going to be $1 because I don't need your money.
Yeah, she wasn't out to take his money. She was out to teach him and other self-centered, chauvinistic, narcissistic gentlemen, if you call them that, a big lesson.
A big lesson. And this was her revenge era. This was her, no matter what you tried to knock me down, it didn't work. So that's why Reputation in Taylor Swift's life is such a big deal.
Yeah, she proved that she was none of those things that she was accused of being. That these jealous, narcissistic individuals were just simply resorting to childish name-calling and trolling.
Yes. But, you can absolutely look at what she did. Oh, look what you made me do. Right? The great song off the Reputation album. That's part of what it references as well. You made me into this.
Yes.
This is my response to you.
Yes, and I'm not going to bring myself down to your level in showing you.
Right.
That I'm not who you say I am. That I'm going to decide who I am, and you're not.
And it's very powerful when anybody does it. Doesn't matter if it's Taylor Swift. It doesn't matter if it's a teenager defining herself in the eyes of her parents. It doesn't matter if it's a young person who maybe signs up for the Marine Corps. You want to live your life the way that you want to live it, and you should be able to do that as long as you're not hurting anybody. That's my caveat here, is that you cannot hurt anybody. But it is inevitable that we will hurt people. That does just happen. You don't always plan it out. You don't always intend for it, but it does happen. But I think that for those people who intentionally hurt you, I think it's always great to give them, a middle finger of some kind.
Yes, an eloquent middle finger.
Yeah.
That shows them they didn't affect you and that they may have actually inadvertently helped you.
Yes, and they did help her because, like I said, Taylor Swift is doing great these days.
Yeah, this is now, Tracie mentioned, young Marine Corps recruits, but this is, like, for example, this is just one teachable example from out of Marine Corps boot camp. Essentially, what we just talked about is what drill instructors do for Marine Corps recruits. They bully you and give you a hard time to weather you and vet you and get you to prove that what they said you are, say like a little maggoty, so for example, maggoty hippie scumbag, okay. Mm-hmm. They'll call you these names knowing that they're trying to get underneath your skin and to see how you handle it, whether or not you can still perform despite all this adversity that they're pouring upon you. And of course, you have to literally let this slide off and keep going and working hard. And then, for example, by the end of boot camp, you have proved and vetted yourself. You've weathered all this adversity and come out on top. So it's, like boot camp is a microcosm of life, a microcosm of a career.
Right. This all evolved out of a discussion of Easter eggs. But my overall point is that Reputation is full of Easter eggs. If you have the time, you could sit down with the album, you can look up the lyrics, and you can Google search everything about it, and you can pull up the whole story, because honestly, once again, if we get into it, we would be here for hours and hours just talking about it. So moving on to the Lover era, fans predicted the title of Lover after analyzing clues in the Me music video and spotted references to the phrase lover. Then Folklore and Evermore, they came out, like I said, I look at these two albums as twins. These are not twins, I'm sorry, sisters. These albums are quite near and dear to my heart. I was not there for the Folklore release, because apparently she did it without warning after she teased not a lot going on at the moment. And then she released the album, right? So then 5 months later, and I was there for the Evermore release, where she repeated the post before announcing Evermore. So fans describe both surprise albums as an emotional highlight for them. And it was very nice to have this new album released during a time of great uncertainty. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I just want to say that pandemic was one of the most uncertain times of my life.
Yes, and we have to continue to enjoy what we can enjoy when we can enjoy it, going in, continuing on in the current world situation where, just to sum it up, the world's on fire.
but we didn't start the fire.
No, we sure didn't. Most of us are spectators.
Most of us are spectators. But then Midnights came along in 2022, and this was described as a journey through terrors and sweet dreams. Its promotion was more traditional, but she teased events via her Midnights Manifest calendar, revealing a 3 a.m. surprise, which was 7 extra songs. Fans also speculated about engagement references in Lavender Haze and the meaning behind tracks like Karma and Would've, Could've, Should've. Karma now most famously is where she changed the line. Karma is the guy on the TV coming home to me. She changed it to Karma is the guy on the Chiefs coming home to me. Yeah, very cute, right? That's when Travis Kelce came on stage with her at the Eras Tour.
Yeah, this adds layers to her work, to her artistry.
Yeah. Karma's also a really good song. I don't think I listened to it enough. If I'm being honest, I should listen to it more. But her lasting appeal, she has, I feel like, just infinite appeal. One of my favorite, or what my favorite reaction is when I tell people I like Taylor Swift.
What's your favorite reaction?
You like Taylor Swift, but in a good way, like in a surprise way. Because they also like Taylor Swift and they didn't think that I would for some reason.
Well, that's evidence of Taylor Swift's very broad appeal.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at here, is that there's, people who, might surprise you.
Yeah, like people, like, for example, say a girl who dresses gothy.
Like me.
And likes The Nightmare Before Christmas as
like
a part,
me.
Part of that fan cult.
Like
okay.
Me, yes.
Yes. I don't think you're the only one who surprises people that you also like Taylor Swift.
Well, I maintain that Evermore specifically is a gothic album.
Yeah.
Even the title, Evermore. I mean, that's like Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, like it's definitely has those goth undertones to it. And one of what I think is one of the one of my favorite songs from her, Ivy, just a beautiful song. It's very laden with Emily Dickinson references specifically, because Emily Dickinson was secretly in love with her sister-in-law, and they may or may not have had a relationship, and all of these things came out well after Emily Dickinson passed away. But yes, Ivy, for that reason alone, just the way the lyrics come together, it's a very visual, very poetic, just beautiful song. Beautiful song.
Yes, all of Taylor Swift's songs are beautiful, at least in some way.
In some way, yes. But, I think at heart, even though I really do love 1989, I love the pop music sound, I really think that her folk music albums are very special.
They are.
Yeah, they're very special to me, yes. I like I said, I warned y'all, I love all kinds of music.
Yes, and Taylor Swift has presented such a variety of music in her time.
And there are fans out there who have grown up with her. They've loved her since the beginning, since debut. And their favorite things about her, why they listen to her, is kind of the same reasons why we do. She captures emotions with intelligence. There's also like a universal thing going on with her too, right? Like I feel like some of the things that she sings about, everybody can identify with it.
She naturally connects with fans. She naturally connects with casual fans.
Yes.
She naturally connects with people who love pop music.
Yes. Or just music in general. I think like probably her to my ears, her most pop sounding album is 1989. Um, I would say that Life of a Showgirl reminds me a lot more of that layered well of sound, like from the Beach Boys and the groups like the Crystals and all that. This album reminds me a lot of that type of music.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that vintage kind of sound.
Yeah. She's incredible. She's so immensely talented that she can do any style of music she wants. As we've seen, she's even done rap.
Yes, yeah. There is a bit of rapping going on in Reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I gotta tell you, like, me, or with Life of a Showgirl specifically, I find the lyrics so catchy. I want to sing them as much as I can, and I still like trip over my tongue. So it's quite a testament to her, to any singer that can change keys like that can not trip over their tongues when they're singing these lyrics. It's it's a talent.
Yes, and now one of the themes that I think the theme that I love the most about her latest album is, she makes the point that women in entertainment are constantly exploited. And this exploitation itself is a challenge to, improvise, adapt, and overcome. And in that album, she touches upon how she did that very thing against a male-dominated industry.
Yes, and also her getting the money to buy back her master tapes, which was something that was very important to her. Not all artists have that goal, but it was her goal, and she was lied to. And there was a whole like backstory to this where basically a music producer, like, they didn't even really consult her in the buying of different master tapes from one studio to another, or one music producer to another, and it really was not fair that she wasn't even consulted, wasn't even asked.
Yeah, it's the average movie producer has in their mindset that they own the musician.
Right. Yes, and I think that's something else too that I think is important here, is that one of the reasons why I think certain people don't like her is because she's not, quote, in her place.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. That's why Kanye West doesn't like her. But why should why should we listen to just about anything Kanye West has to say? Really,
you really shouldn't. Please don't mute Kanye West.
Yeah, or just have a good laugh at his expense. Because he's one of those men who gets very upset when he doesn't get his way. Of course, like the consummate narcissist that he is. He gets upset when he doesn't get his way, and he's going to rant about it, and he's going to try to command everyone's attention because he was upset, and it's the worst thing in the world to upset him, of course.
Well, I also just want to say this too. I know that Kim Kardashian, she and Kanye West do have children together. I am not a Kardashian follower, so I'm not really clear on the terms of their custody arrangement specifics. But I do know that there was a point in time when Kanye West was terrorizing her over the kids. He was breaking a restraining order. It got pretty ugly. And I just want to say that even if I don't like Kim Kardashian, it doesn't mean I want to see her suffer like that.
It's no surprise someone like Kanye West should break a restraining order, because men like Kanye West, they just don't look upon, they have no respect for the judicial system or any particular judge.
Or anybody.
Yeah, because they feel they have their own laws.
Right.
That these people have broken, and that they should be punished for it, and they seem to make every effort, even if it is ranting about it, attempts to punish these people. Of course.
Right.
Right.
But here's the thing with people like Kanye West, and this is this doesn't just apply to Kanye West. This could apply to people in your life that you know personally. Maybe you even have a relationship with somebody like this. Um, if you feel like you always have to please that person, you can't upset that person ever, I'm just going to say that's not a good sign.
Yeah, that's a sign that you have to find your way out.
Yes.
And venture off on your own, which Taylor Swift did masterfully.
Right. So, is Taylor Swift bigger than the Beatles? The biggest band of all time, the Beatles. Is Taylor Swift bigger than the Beatles?
That is debatable. Now, at this point of time, I'd have to say yes.
Well, it's actually a bit of both. For like sales and records alone, she's still behind them, believe it or not. But by global reach, cultural imprint, control over her narrative, she is likely the most influential artist of the century. I'm going to go ahead and say that here on this podcast.
No, the 21st century. Yes. There's no doubt about that.
And unlike Elvis, the Beatles, or Michael Jackson, she's still in her prime. She still has a long life ahead of her, a long career ahead of her, if that's what she chooses. But she's still writing, she's still evolving. And, she's still rewriting what it means to be a star in the modern world, too. When you think about it like that.
I think eventually music is going to reach a point to where there's going to be artists purchasing licenses to cover her songs.
Yes.
Down the road. Yeah, especially let's say if she gets to a point in her life where she's winding her career down, we can expect to see newer artists cover her songs.
So, all right. So that is our Taylor Swift topic. Unless you have anything else you want to add.
Oh, I do.
Yes.
I've been dying to say this during this podcast.
Oh.
What do I admire Taylor Swift the most for? It is definitely her ability to keep that busy schedule, to go through concerts week to week, performing with naturally generated energy, organic energy from her rigorous fitness routine.
Like running on the treadmill while singing her song set.
Yes, exactly. It's, kind of like Marines who will do, 3 sessions of group PT a week, usually like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and even hit the gym on their own. Well, Taylor Swift is proof that the more you fit exercise into your work schedule, the more productive you can be, the more energy you will have when you're doing your regular job.
And we also just want to say that we have a generous definition of exercise. It could mean yoga, it could mean taking a walk, it can mean lifting weights, whatever it means to you. We're not fitness experts. We're not here to give instructions on your body or your fitness habits or anything, but just know that we have a very generous definition of exercise.
Yes. It's very likely that Taylor Swift's exercise regimen is similar to a professional athlete. She probably spends at least 20 hours a week exercising.
Travis Kelce said that on the New Heights podcast, that she pretty much does similar things to what he has to do.
Yes. I mean, like, I was going through a time when I was spending over 20 hours in the gym every week, and I remember you referred to it as my church.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was a team leader at a Target store, and people thought I was on crack. I had so much energy, and I would move throughout the store very quickly, accomplish classes quickly, communicate very succinctly and quickly with people.
Yes.
And so I know that kind of energy personally.
Right.
And if you can ever get yourself to that point, it is a wonderful place to be. When I was active during the Marine Corps, at one point, my cardiovascular fitness was on that level to where I was able to think fast, communicate succinctly, and go about my daily routine with a tremendous amount of energy.
Well, since you shared what you like the most about her, I'm going to say mine then. Aside from her business acumen, which I think is incredible, very rarely do you see a creative person with like such a business awareness. Usually it tends to be one or the other. She has both. And yes, you could probably like attribute some of this to the team around her, sure, but a lot of it comes from her too.
Yeah, her father was very helpful
Yes.
in that regard as well.
Yes. But also, like I said, I think the thing that impresses me the most about her is her soul, her kindness.
Yes, and my final thought on that regard is that if we ever find out there's something horribly bad about her character, some scandal that comes out about her, I would lose faith in humanity if we ever found out she was a terrible person.
Oh, that's actually such a beautiful thing to say. Are you finally admitting that you're a Swiftie?
Maybe.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to go into our fossil feed where we're going to discuss what else entertained us recently. Last night, we went to go see Die My Love with Robert Pattinson and Jennifer Lawrence, which, so I was a bit disappointed. I thought it was going to be about serial killers. I thought a murder was going to happen. I thought it was a true crime sort of movie. It was not. It actually turned out to be, I would have to say, a interesting and moving portrait of mental illness and people's reaction to it. My reflections on it, thinking about it today, is that like when we saw I guess it was supposed to be the early part of their relationship where she's like crawling like through the grass to him, and you see them in the house at the start having just a great time. Um, that's like I think the part where um I'm not quite sure how to phrase this, like where a person or people can maybe think, oh, that's not mental illness, that's her personality, that's her quirkiness.
Yes, until eventually the person exhibits more symptoms,
Yeah.
will do crazy things which are in actuality cries for help.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence did an excellent job of portraying these crazy things that someone's with serious mental health issues will do in front of people because they're literally asking for help. They don't know how to do it.
Excuse me, sorry.
Beyond doing crazy things for attention.
Yes, I have to say though, the one thing that I was not disappointed in was two things in particular. The acting. I thought that everybody bought their A game. Everybody.
Yeah. Robert Pattinson
was great.
Did an excellent job.
Sissy Spacek is such a pro.
Yeah, Nick Nolte. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Nick. It was easy to forget that was Nick Nolte, for example.
Right.
Because he was portraying the mentally ill grandfather-in-law.
Yes, and we saw how Jennifer Lawrence's character and him, how they spoke to like. They each recognized something in each other, even if they didn't really know what it was fully. I thought that was a very interesting way of showing it too. I'm not trying to give spoilers in case somebody's seen it yet. But the other thing that stunned me is the visuals. I thought it was an incredibly visual movie.
Yeah, cinematography was really, really spot on.
And the transitions and then the way it was lit. Love the way that movie was lit. Really very, very visually pleasing.
And some people would be bored by this movie because it is quite simply a portrayal of the way someone's life unfolds during adulthood with serious mental health issues.
Mm-hmm. I do recommend it. I think we should also say that we are fans of going to the movies. We like going to the movie theater. please, if you can, try to support your local movie theater.
Yes, quite literally. There's many people counting on you for this. For one thing, you want to continue to have these blockbuster movies, these artistic movies funded and produced. And the best way to speak is with your feet, with your dollars. If there's artistic indie movies, which is what this is, okay,
and some
that you like, you should go to see them when they're in your theater, because chances are they won't be in your theater long. They need your support.
Also, I promise you this. I have been going to the movies ever since I was a child. I've been sneaking snacks into the movies for literally for decades at this point. They never check your bag. If you can't afford popcorn, fine. Bring a bag of chips and go to the movies.
Yeah, they're gone is the day when ushers with flashlights walk down the aisles of movie theaters.
And for God's sake, put your phone away.
Yeah, turn your phone off, and phones can be tricky. Even putting your phone on silent might not be good enough because of notifications, for example.
Yeah, or you can put it in airplane mode if you don't want to turn it off.
Yeah. I've reached the point to where I've just turned my phone off. I very often play on my phone during the previews.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you shouldn't talk during a movie, but I'm one of those people who will talk during the previews because the previews don't really count. That's not when you really need to be quiet.
But I also did want to add that Elizabeth Olsen of MCU fame, she played Scarlet Witch in the Avengers movies. She now has it in her contract that, yes, we have a cat. You might be able to hear her. Elizabeth Olsen has it in her contract that her movies have got to go into movie theaters. So we could wind up seeing actors starting to have this in their contracts more often.
Yes, it's the biggest actors who were at the top of the food pyramid.
George Clooney's another one, I believe, who has, at the very least, he has advocated against AI image replacement.
Yeah, that's as important at the latest SAG contract. Even forbids using AI extras, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the things that being in movie and TV production has taught me is that it's a big food pyramid. Whereas like the people with the big names are at the top of that food pyramid.
Yes.
And do make a relatively lion's share. But as the pyramid expands and gets larger going to the bottom, as evidenced by tons of names, hundreds of names in the credits of movies.
Mm-hmm.
The vast majority of these people are blue-collar people working from gig to gig.
And they still have to put food on the table and they have to pay rent.
Yes, you're also, when you support a movie, the majority of the people you're supporting are blue-collar people who are working hard at their jobs, just like you are. And there's even people who are uncredited in these movies, from people who work at the crafting table.
Yes,
providing needed snacks and food to movie extras and actors and members of the crew to keep their energy up, because on a movie set or TV set, your energy must be high.
And some of those shoots, I mean, I've seen it where they can take up to 12 hours.
In a day. My record on set is 17 hours.
Yeah. So, next time you watch a movie or watch a TV show, just, think about that. That, you're like, you going to the movie or even buying a DVD or even buying a digital copy of something is, it is helpful to everybody who's worked on that production.
And I think it's also great to keep in mind that even if you don't like one of the principal actors appearing in a movie, but you want to see the movie anyway, go ahead and see the movie with the knowledge that the majority of the people you are supporting outnumber that actor in the hundreds, including the uncredited types like myself.
Right. So, some things that I've been watching on my own time has been Life Below Zero, which you've watched a little bit of with me, about people who live a lifestyle that me living in the South just cannot fathom. I live in a city. I live in the South. I cannot fathom living near the Arctic Circle in such harsh conditions. Literally, -40, -60 can happen in these places. They don't have cars. They use sled dogs to go get their mail. You have to travel miles to go get your mail. You have to have fuel flown in, dog food flown in. It's actually quite a bit more than you would think. Your whole day is about survival, cutting your own wood, hunting your own food. Um, I have to say though, I respect the hell out of anybody who wants to do that though. It's not for me, but I respect it.
It's a Spartan lifestyle that is very likely more difficult than being on active duty.
But also you had backup though.
In the military. Yeah.
If you're in the military, at least you have backup though. You have superiors, and you have a mess hall. You have all these things.
You have a support. You have a support system.
You have a support system.
These people have
support.
Very little support. Very little support. They have like a thin line. Like the plane that flies in that literally lands on a field of ice.
Yeah.
To bring you fuel.
Or dog food, or
whatever
you may
once
need.
a week. It's a very thin line, unlike unlike in the military.
Yes,
and like for example, like in the military, when you're deployed, you have a logistics system for doing mail runs from where the place where the mail comes in.
Yes, yeah.
For those people who are still writing in the military.
And you also had like planes that would probably have a lot easier time landing with their cargo that say in the middle of the desert than on an icy runway.
Well, yeah, at an air base, where you're going to pick up the mail from an airfield. Okay,
right.
But these people don't have this really.
No, they don't.
So they have to go. They have to go on their own mail runs.
But they do have each other. Like, that's the dog scratching herself. We have cats and dogs. But anyway, they do have each other. They have a trading system. Like they'll trade, meat for fuel or machine parts and things like that. There is actually a thriving bartering system going on amongst that community.
Yeah, the ones who don't chop their own firewood, they'll trade firewood for food. Just to give one example.
Right. So next time that I'm in the supermarket, I'm going to be glad I'm in the supermarket buying my meat instead of having to go hunt it.
Yeah, that's why it's called a supermarket.
I've not finished watching this yet, but I've been watching, it's, okay, so Brian, you have a familiarity with Ryan Murphy. He's created American Horror Story. He did the O.J. Simpson miniseries that we watched with Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Scandal one with Beanie Feldstein and Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah.
So he also did a couple of these other ones. I do enjoy Ryan Murphy's work. I know that might not be the most cool thing to say right now, but I enjoy his universe. One of the things that he did was called Feud, between Truman Capote, who was he was a writer who was amongst New York high society women, and he betrayed them with his writing, where he speculated that one of them may have actually killed her husband, and she wound up taking herself out in response to what he wrote about her in a magazine article. So that's where this feud essentially started, because before that, these women trusted him. Like, these women had husbands who were not nice to them. These were high society women with high society men who loved to fool around with other women. So these husbands were not there for their wives in the way that you were there for me, Brian. So this man Truman Capote fit that emotional. He fulfilled them emotionally. And so when you have a betrayal like that, because it is a betrayal, think about this. This is somebody who knew all of your secrets. You trusted him with confidences, right? Stuff that you wouldn't want to get out. When you told this person because you trusted him, and he stabbed you in the back. So I've not yet finished it, but when we do, we're going to talk more about it. I probably will rewatch it again and have you watch it with me, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, a good idea.
Something else that we've recently gotten through is all of the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episodes. We've watched every single one this year.
Yep, because we started watching at a certain point during the Halloween season.
And we just kept going.
We just kept going into November. Our Halloween decorations are still up, which...
well, we never take them down, really. That skeleton's still on the door, but...
yeah, some of them we don't take down, but some of them we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them we do, like the giant pumpkin just can't be in the front room all year round, but we're still enjoying it right now.
Well, maybe when we get our new shelving up, we can find room for the pumpkin to be there forever. That's a possibility. Anyway, home ownership is new to us, but anyway. The other thing we've been looking at is the terminal list. We finished the one that's just called the terminal list. Now we're on the prequel. Is it called Dark Wolf?
Yeah, Chris Pratt did his very best work on the terminal list,
and I think Taylor Kitsch too. For those of you who are familiar, Friday Night Lights, where he played
Tim Riggins.
Tim Riggins, yes, he played Tim Riggins, who actually I think on this show was one of my favorite characters. Really enjoyed his evolution.
Yeah, both Chris Pratt and Taylor Kitsch trained, literally trained for these roles portraying seals.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to look the look and walk the talk the walk. The Jack Carr, who's a prior service Navy SEAL, wrote a series of novels, and he made his dream come true of turning one of his novels into a TV show. And this particular character, his last name of Reese, James Reese, was created with Chris Pratt in mind, and he made his own dream come true, bringing Chris Pratt to the screen as the character.
Well, that's kind of like when the internet casted Rosario Dawson for Ahsoka.
Yeah, it's very rare that fan castings are actually heard and accepted by Hollywood, because, of course, it's a bit more complex than fans even begin to understand.
And so now we're going to go into our outro. I hope that made somebody laugh. But, so what are we talking about next week, Brian's topic that you picked?
We are going to talk about the hunt for Ben Solo.
The hunt for Ben Solo and what could have been.
Yes, what could have been, but might still actually happen. There was no need for us to stop mouthing off about the hunt for Ben Solo, because it can still happen or even be adapted into a future movie.
We can always hope, can't we? Do we have a new hope?
Rebellions are built on hope.
Rebellions are built on hope. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for listening to us. We really hope that you will come back next time. Please subscribe to us on the YouTube. We will eventually live stream, just not yet. However, our Kick and Twitch pages at the Fossil Files are created. You may go there and become an early follower. So when we do live stream, you can be amongst the first.
It is our pleasure talking to you.
Yes, very much so. And yeah, all right. So I guess we're just going to go now. Bye.
Bye.